Welcome to Tech Titans, where we x-ray the lives of individuals in the tech world, tech luminaries, tech visionaries who have been there for the longest of years so they can pave way and show us how they have been able to do it till this time. And that's what we do on Tech Titans. My name is Ibukun Bankole. Welcome again. Today on the show, we have an amazing woman who has been in the ICT space, tech, for the last 2 decades and over. And I'm speaking of Dr. Wunmi Hassan. She is the president and CEO of High Tech Center for Nigerian Women and Youth. Thank you very much for being my guest today.
Thank you, Ibukun. Nice to be with you.
It's so great to see that. I feel like I kind of look like you, so I'm like,
obviously.
And thank you so much. I mean, we came in from Lagos down to Abuja just to see you and get to find out how it has been as a woman, particularly in the tech world, for over 2 decades. It's a lot. I mean, but I feel like 2 decades ago,
practicing more.
But,
over 3 decades.
3 decades now. Okay.
Computing
and all right. So it's been 3 decades computing, pretty much. And I want to believe that back then we were not having as many women in the space. So what made you think of going into ICT or computing at all?
Well, first of all, computer science is what I studied at the university. So for me, I could say it came by inspiration. I just felt computer science, so what about it? And of course, I went for the degree. It's exciting to hear about software, to hear about hardware, to hear about networking, and all of those internet things. For me personally, I got interested in what is it about the hardware? Of course, in the class, everybody is trying to do some small programming. We write the codes, and things looks like, and many times we struggle to enter the computer lab, which is not too many facilities. So it's actually about the guys in the class who can run fast and then do things. So some of us will just wait on their codes and copy and paste. But personally, I was privileged during my industrial training to work where I was exposed to the back-end processes. And then I saw quite a lot of networking portals and the rest. So it took me off what I see in the class. And so I began to talk about client-server system, which actually became my BSc thesis topic. So my professor, everybody was wondering, where are you coming from? What's about client-server system? So I typically taught my professors.
Wow.
And so it was actually a great privilege. So when we look at the educational sector, looking back, I can tell you that things that are happening in our classrooms and the things in the industry obviously are not same, but we have a leverage where we do industrial training. And this industrial training helps us to see the real world, what is happening in the industry. Where I was privileged to work was such an eye-opener. I saw quite a lot, embedded systems. I was able to do so many things with soldering of the ICs.
Wow.
So it was, wow, they didn't teach us this in class. So I engaged with them. Every holiday, I kept going back. So plus or minus CWS or IT, I just kept going back. Every 1 week holiday, I'm back in the office to volunteer. So I have learned to volunteer from as long as I was in 200, 300 levels, because I realized that there was more to learn. Like, for instance, all the office, the back, Microsoft Word page maker, I learned it from the secretary of the office. Because when I first came in, they said, oh, you're a girl, don't come into the lab. So go and stay with the ladies that are doing the typing. And that was it. So that helped me to be able to make so many things. I learned how to do page making. I learned how to do quite a lot of things and all of that. So growing out of the university, and then I was so eager to work. And I won't mention names of places I went to so that it won't be like, what is going on? But the very first software company that I was privileged to go to, immediately I finished the interview, they just told me, you are a girl, we can't take you.
Wow.
You are a girl, we can't take you. What? I'm a girl, I can't be taken. Why? And of course, marriage came in between the looking for what to do. Marriage came, and then I found myself in Ife at the Obafemi Awolowo University,
University.
where my husband became a doctor at the Health Center. And so I was just like, I can't stay like this. Let me go for masters. And of course, trying to get what's the job available. Again, another interview. You are a girl, we can't take you. In fact, they told me I came first in the interview, but because they needed somebody that would be working overnight in the, and then manage the servers and the rest and the rest. So I said, that's what I'm interested in. But it was too late. The panel has taken their decision. But I was privileged to ask them, can I be a volunteer? And they took me in as volunteer. And that's where the industry has a problem. They couldn't take me in and pay me a salary because I'm a girl, but I volunteered to work free and they allowed me to do it. So for me, while everybody felt it's injustice, I was not seeing injustice. I was just seeing an opportunity to climb that thing called the mask. We've been hearing about it in my class, line of sight. So every time I'm holding a remote control at home, I'm trying to understand the line of sight where you
Wow.
connect to where the remotes click. So for the internet and of course the communications, I'm so interested. I actually thought I would be working somewhere in MTN and all those places. So I just want to climb the mask, understand what happens and how is it what I'm doing in programming, able to manage the site. So I was eager and then I went in. And of course, that actually made a lot of difference to me, really, because on the long run, for the period of about 1 year, I can tell you I learned a lot, working with the server, programming, and all of that. And then when I finished, all that I saw was, what else? What else? No job still.
Wow.
So obviously, I now got a lab within the university where somebody had done something on climate change. And then the project is over and then the labs is just locked up. So I volunteered again to say, can I open the lab and turn it into a cafe? And the man said, I don't have salary, but if you are interested, just go ahead. So I went there again. That's when I got to know more. People are asking me, how did you dive and you are computer science, you are doing energy things. And so at that period of time, again, I was beginning to, because it was at the Center for Energy Research in the Obafemi Awolowo University. So there's nothing they would do in seminar, in all those things. I was always there. I would check documents for them. So I began to see things. And of course, the project that the man did was on atmospheric research, Professor Boyd. So I became the staff there. And I was running the cafe. So all this thing about photovoltaic, we're just hearing seminar for all the professors. And I'm wondering, so there's something that would actually, and of course, physics is one of our best in our computer science. So I was really eager to know more about that technology. And from one thing to the other, that's when I got to attend a conference in Ghana.
Wow.
And then by the time I got there, they said, we would do something for Africa. There was a Ghanaian high-tech woman. And somebody said, how can Ghana have something for women and Nigeria doesn't have? The lady from Ife, can you start something? That's the way iTech started.
Wow.
So I came back and with excitement, I called all the ladies in the office, come, let me teach you computer, let me talk to you about it. It was just like, what is it? I want to start an NGO. I just want to talk to you people. And the first day I said it, over 20 women were seated.
Wow.
And I said, oh, it's serious. So you people really don't know computer. Very exciting. So we did. And by the time they were done, I just gave a seminar. I was just talking about the topics of what I heard in Ghana and all of the conference. And everybody was excited. And then the following day, one of them just came to the office. I said, come, Mrs. Hassan. There is one local government chairman that has come visiting one of the professors. And then we just told him about the NGO. And he said, he wants to meet you. And then I met him. That same local government today is the deputy governor of Osun State,
Wow.
Prince Adewuse. Interestingly. Wow. And then he just connected and called the wife immediately and said, so the NGO you'll be looking for, they are here. That was our very first outing to the local government. And we had almost 100 women in the local government and its environment. The men were all standing outside looking at us and say, what are they talking about? And before we knew it, it was on NTA that night. Before the local government chairman could sleep, all his colleagues were calling him and saying, how can you do that alone in your local government? That was what started iTech. And then we began to move from one local government to the other. Before we know it, the deputy governor of Osun State then, Erelu Obada, heard about it and invited me and said, can you train all the wives of the commissioners?
Wow. So let me pause you on this.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows one thing that picked from this. I mean, speaking from the last set of statements you've made is
Yeah.
just take that step and you see how doors will open. You see the lives that you're touching.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that you already even answered my next question before I asked it about the experience you had as a woman. And which shows that a lot of women out there, even till date, are still facing it and they're saying, what are you doing? Even for me, they're like, you're in tech, really?
Yeah, really.
What is it? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's obvious that it's not just, if you're just experiencing this, if you're just experiencing this, it's not just about you.
It isn't.
It's not.
Absolutely.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
You can see Dr. Hassan has experienced it, but she surmounted it. And another thing that you said that I'm picking out of this is volunteering.
Yeah.
Volunteering opens doors.
Yes,
and
exactly. That's the word. It opens doors. So if you don't have a job, you're a STEM woman. When it talks about STEM, and I think we need to define it, it's unfortunate that you see somebody who read biology, who read biochemistry, and I said, come, you're a STEM woman. I said, no, Dr. Wunmi, I'm not in that your technology. So I'm asking, what are you in? You read science, you read technology, you read engineering, you did mathematics. We are all STEM women. And these days, it's even becoming STEAM. Arts has come in, because the truth is that when we began to do some hardware things, like when we started solar panel assembly, and I realized that we needed to do some padding of the cell. And what we did in the padding is typically what we learned in our arts classes while we were in JSS, secondary school. It doesn't look like it's relevant to us. And I say to everybody, it isn't that our curriculum isn't good. It's because we are not applying. We are not producing anything. So we felt they are just wasting our time. Every time we are producing a machine or anything, and I see what we do, I've said, is that not what we did in arts when we were in primary school? Because we are not doing so. Until we began to produce with CSS. So if you don't have a job, just create that job. Volunteer. You don't need to be paid. Sometimes money will come. And I said to people, after that experience, one of the directors in that agency became a DG of an agency. And I just felt, oh, sir, come and be our keynote speaker. So he came for that first event. But when he left, he kept begging everybody that knew my husband and I that I should come and work with government. That was what took me to work with the Federal Ministry of Science and Tech. I didn't apply for it. He felt, you mean you're a lady, you are doing something like this in technology? I'm creating a women in science and tech department. I need you to come in. That's what gave me the job. Automatically, I rejected that job for 1 year. Because I felt, what will I be doing there? Ministry. I don't want to wahala. But eventually, I went in. And I served for many years. So for me, every woman should understand that, or anybody, even a youth, that little one even if it's children you bring together, try to teach them, volunteer, and then the volunteering will give you another opportunity that you can't even imagine. I can tell you from everything that everybody sees in high-tech, is just from one project that bets another. When Erelu Obada told us to come and train the women, they are leaders. They are not like every other common woman we thought we wanted to train. So that's bets our women leaders forum. So every year we have that annual event for women who are leaders, who are wives of commissioners, wives of governors, wives of this. And it's become a very fantastic project, almost 20 years running. And every year they keep coming. And we notice at that point that what they need in technology is not what any other common woman needs. While we were doing the first Women's Summit in Ife, the students who are females who came, they felt odd sitting with women that are married, who carry some of their babies and all of that. So we created Ladies ICT Summit. Because that way we can target females on campus. Because, and again, their needs are not the same. And I can tell you that, of course, when I did my master's in computer science in Ife, I realized there is one software, MATLAB. MATLAB, one of our professors will come to class and say, we need MATLAB, but we never saw that MATLAB to use until I went to Ghana for a meeting. And in our excursion, they took us to where some school children, primary school children, came for excursion. And what were they doing? They were using MATLAB software in Ghana, Nigerian University, Obafemi Awolowo, Obawa University. We have not seen it. And I'm not exaggerating. That was for me another breaking point. So, in other words, we have too many things we are doing in classroom that we are not practicalizing. We are not seeing software, we are not seeing the hardware. The university perhaps is not thinking, in fact, the only professor that had it said he bought it with his money, he can't release it. And I can understand his proprietary rights and all of that. But what am I saying is that the way we have, that's one of the passion that I took into iTech. So some of the things I've seen as gaps in what we're doing is what we try to do. So somebody called me recently. I said, Dr. Wunmi, how can people learn coding or website design in 1 week, in 2 weeks? And I tell them, here we are not teaching the theories we have taught in school. We are doing practicals. We are trying to see application. So if we are telling you are coming for a website design class or coding class, the first thing you do in the class is to tell us what problem you want to solve. So in trying to solve that problem, your content to learn will be driven by your passion, your interest to solve that problem. I was privileged when I was doing my PhD to be in Oxford University, 2 weeks research methodology class at the Oxford Internet Institute. This our Facebook guy was in my class. Wow. He brought this idea as a topic that I was laughing. I personally laughed. I said, is that not what we do when we finish in secondary school? They call it yearbook. And everybody takes a picture of their classmates so that we remember ourselves. They put it. And they still do it today in schools.
Yes.
I said, why is that a PhD program? And that was his master's program for him then. But that's Facebook today. That's the whole world. That small idea, see what it has created. They have the privilege of writing that software, creating the code, creating that platform. Not like the way our teachers snap us and all we do is to paste it in as a collage in a book and they give it to us, we take home. That's where we are missing it. If all the classmates, where they are doing before they finish, they have learned a little bit of software development and they actually created something like it's like a WhatsApp chat and they have all their pictures. You see what Nigerian children would have become. And I hope we are getting there gradually because people are doing things now.
I mean, there's a whole lot to break down from what you've said. But now the beautiful thing about you that I have seen is how innovative you are. I mean, before we started this interview and we were having an issue and you already gave us an idea of what to do. And now I've seen that from one idea to another, you keep seeing the gaps and saying, okay, so this is how we can solve it, from the Women Leadership Summit to the Ladies Leadership Summit, and a whole lot like that.
A whole lot.
So how has your background shaped that thinking? Because it has shown that you are resilient, and even when there are obstacles, you find another way to go in, and you keep, living as a solution provider.
I'm number 5 of 8 children.
Wow.
4 boys, 4 girls. That's of my mom. Of my father is a polygamous home. Okay. But my father has a very interesting slogan. I don't know if all the children in the house hears it, but I hear it. And my father will say, challenge the status quo. I don't know. For a long time, I was looking for the dictionary word of what is status quo. Because he would just say it casually. Hi, girls in the house, don't just sit there. Make sure that you are good at what you are doing. Ensure that you are thinking out of the box. This innovation, thinking out of the box, I've been hearing from my father of blessed memory. God bless his soul. Amen. But he actually ensured that every time he's speaking to me, he tells me to make sure I challenge the status quo. In other words, don't just sit there. Think about what solution you can prefer. The fact that the background of who we are, what we are is like this, doesn't limit you. As a matter of fact, he calls me light. He said, you are light, keep shining. So if I tell all my siblings, I tell them, I said, there is something that's always ringing at the back of my mind everywhere I go. And I say to myself, Wunmi, you cannot but shine. And of course, when I open my Bible, it is clear in the scriptures. So it's just speaking the scriptures. But for me, like you have said, it's been creative. I started from when we were small. And I always tell teachers in primary and secondary school, today everybody says, oh, education, parenting. I said, no. I have a completely different perspective because my biological mother did not even go to school. Do you know? My father is the one that is learned. My mom can make you read till tomorrow. You understand? Maybe that's why. But she identified those who can assist us. Schools, lesson teachers, all of that. And she makes sure that you are following through. That's where we come in as parents. But I can tell you 80% of who I am is school. From nursery school, I always tell my when I started having children, and then I took my daughter to one school, and I asked the teacher, do you know what they call plasticine? He said, what is that, doctor? I said, oh, you don't know,
Oh.
then my child cannot enter this school. Because those were the things that we used
I
to
learned.
learn with when we were young. So some of those things have left education. From nursery one, I think we were in Ondo State recently for a project, and I was showing my team. This is my nursery primary school. I can tell you what happened when I was in nursery two. I can't remember nursery one, but nursery two, I remembered how they took us on excursions. We were in so many crown caps company, bottling company, and the things I saw didn't leave me. So in my mind, how did that bottle cork it? Oh, that machine just put it. So in my mind, there's something about machine I want to see, because that was formed in us from when we were that young. And then back to school, they will give us plasticines. We will create different things.
Yes.
As they are teaching you something in science, whatever, you are creating the animal. So those creativity things comes to play, and that gives us what the concept of idea generation is. So every child, you go home, you are assignment, you are creating, you are drawing, you are doing everything. That educational skills, pedagogy must return back to school. We must understand it. If teachers cannot say what is, I'm not saying generally, plasticine. In fact, one of the teachers called me later and said, Dr. Wunmi, you pushed me to go and research about plasticine. And I realized that we can even use mud to create plasticine. Again, research. That's why we are scientists. So one of the things that has helped me is that I'm always asking questions. No matter what. You see, you came in, I was telling you, I would have done. So questioning, and I tell my children, ask questions.
That's inquisitive.
Being inquisitive.
Behavior.
Being inquisitive. When I return, people, I'm sure you are going there, but let me help you. Solar, biogas, all those things. Some people have asked me, Kilo day, where did you get them? I said, well, I got to the US and I saw primary 3 children, or just 3 children, producing drones. So I asked myself, yeah, with all this my PhD, what do I know? So I returned back to Nigeria with a mindset. I've had everywhere we go, if you see my notes, that's why when I'm talking to people and you are not writing them, I'm telling you, you can't retain everything in your head. You need to put down things. And that's where some of the things we need to rejuvenate in this generation. Young and old, we are talking to somebody, even if it's on your phone, be typing what you are, because there is a note that you will pick and then you can build up later. So when I return back, I just created a WhatsApp group, renewable technology. Anybody interested? And under 30 minutes, about 250 people have joined. And I'm not exaggerating. I thought it was a joke. I said, you people are doing it? And somebody sent me a back message. I said, Doctor, see what I have done. A reverend sister in Abia State. And I said, what? You mean in Nigeria? You created that? Who taught you? And she said she learned it somewhere and she has a team. I said, can you send me one of them? And they came during one of our ICT camp, like we're going to do in this summer holiday. And it's going to be for children, teenagers, and youth. And all of a sudden, the guy came and taught us the first solar. And we finished it. The thing came up with lights. Everybody see jubilation. And that became the beginning. Another beginning of project. So we went into STEM, and then we're beginning to see hardware. And that was creative for us, because after that, we said, what more can this solar do? We did solar bag, 100% Nigerian made. The bag, I connected with Nihilist. I said, you are the leather agency of science and tech. I want the leather produced by you. We want to proudly hold this facility. I say it is 100% Nigerian. We created the solar, we attached it, and it is working. Another NGO saw it and said, wow, I'm training 50 girls. Can you come and train the girls? We went there, we trained the 50 girls. They produced the solar themselves. We brought the bag to them, and they have it. Again, we must see the opportunities around us. It isn't because it's easy. It isn't easy. Financially, you could another angle. But for me, it is exploratory. It is making me more enjoy the fact that I'm a scientist.
Okay, so now, what again I really like is how you're answering my questions before I even ask. Now, it's obvious that you, like I said earlier, you are proactive. It's pretty much like you think on your feet. But in this day and age where there is a lot of distractions online, I know that people will say social media is not exactly a distraction if you use it wisely.
Absolutely.
But I mean, how many people are not easily distracted by it? You go online and you want to quickly check something, before you know, 30 minutes is gone.
Okay.
How can we still maintain this inquisitive thinking? How can the younger generation like myself begin to think? Because it seems like, for example, in Nigeria, if something is happening, everybody talks about it. We've not sorted that issue out. There's another
Another
distraction,
news.
and you leave it, and it
And
goes
there you
on and
go.
on. Before you know, 5 years, 10 years, and
I don't know how many parents still does that, but when we were growing, there's no time for television. Hello, you didn't answer.
okay, well,
When we were growing up, our parents, there is always maybe 1 or 2 hours
of
in a
TV,
weekend
yes.
for TV. I know every parent is giving phone to their children now, including me.
Yeah,
Because recently I still fought with my husband when he bought iPhone for my daughter. I said, for what now? He said she did very well. I said, iPhone. But we know what to do on the checks. But one of the things that social media is doing for us that is fantastic is that it's giving us information at the prompt. But those information must not just be that, hey, NSAS, hey, Tinubu. No, no, no. It's for us to say, what is the problem there? What can I solve with it? And for me, that's the way I use it. People that know me very well knows that I even work better when there is TV on now. I'm hearing a sound. Though I may not be focusing, or I'm watching something and I'm putting, oh, you mean that thing? So what can we solve with it? So that's the way it should be for somebody who have vision. It is about you understanding what exactly you want to do and then doing it with everything around you. And that's the way I feel that the young generation should think. Yeah, whatever you are teaching you in school. Well, ask yourself, what do I want? Which one is my passion? Like I told you from the beginning, behind this tablet, it's not just Microsoft Word give us black and white. What is it? And you know those days are the days of DOS where it is just black and white. We just type, nothing is Windows. But I want to see what is making it come out. So that was my innate passion. So when I'm looking at any machine, I'm asking myself, can I dismantle this thing? I want to see how this thing is connected. So everybody should identify theirs. These elderly people, that means they are free now. They're not doing anything. And I recollected that in the US, all from the tour guards, they are all very aged, like that. And I told them, we created a tech summit for them. And we were shocked at the number that attended. And today, that is still running. And we make it online because what they need now is to talk to people. They are aged, they are lonely. So we created an online platform for them. If you see that online platform, before I wake up, I can see 100 messages.
because they have the time.
They have the time.
And this thing is reminding me, because I met you, the first time I met you was in 2022, when the Lagos State government was having the waste to wealth for for retirees or those that were planning to retire.
So we did the biogas training. They are still working on it. And they are very inquisitive. They are calling me every day, Dr. Wunmi, when are we going to do our solar? When are we going to do our biogas? And they are very resilient because these are all retired directors and government workers too. So again, that's another point for Nigeria. Those crop of people, there's something we call indigenous technology. When I sit with some of them, things they tell me baffles me. Things I've forgotten from when they taught us in primary, waiting. They will talk about, one of them of blessed memory called me one day and said, anytime you are going to schools to talk to the girls or the children, please invite me. I would like to let them know how best they will learn mathematics and they will enjoy it. Again, do you think we should jettison such people? So the society must actually look for them. We shouldn't just forget them. Let's harness them. And that's what we are doing in ITech. We have the senior citizens platform. And then we are ensuring that they come together in a way that the day we need any of their expertise, we know who to call among them. So these are the different ways we are managing some of these technologies. And let me say to young people like you, not to the junior, primary, secondary, young people like you, it is good to slay, but let's slay better, especially the ladies. It's unfortunate when I do interviews for people and you're asking the basic question in tech, what is algorithm? And 5 girls with all the things they can't tell me.
So it's time for women out there and ladies.
Let's learn it. Let's know what we are doing. And I say to people, it's not just that Wunmi Hassan is too sharp. No, but the basic things that they taught us, let's remember them. Let's learn them. And then let's look at what is, even if you want to be selling pepper, I sell pepper too. But my pepper is online. And the money I make is more than the person in the market. But there's nothing technology cannot harness. We just need to create that niche, learn the skills that we need to do them. We were doing production class and then they were mixing for soap, for cream. So I joined them in our last action. And when the lady said, Taxol, I said, what's Taxol? He said MP, he mentioned the chemistry. Oh my God. I said, see the way we cram chemistry. People like, Auntie, what class did you finish? I said, Mommy, I didn't do too much. I finished from secondary school.
Wow.
She's the one teaching the class. Those who read biochemistry and chemistry in school, we are not seeing them anywhere. So that's the problem. The industry for cosmetics, and of course, you know how much cosmetics we women use. Even men, they are using pomade. Everybody is using Vaseline. So come out, whatever you studied, there is a room for you to take it to the next level. You may not get the funding, and I'm sure you should ask me about funding. How have I been surviving?
Yes, exactly.
We need people to invest into us.
Okay, so before we get into funding, you've raised things about, women now, you have to know your craft pretty much, know
Absolutely.
your craft. And then you've also highlighted the need to integrate the retarees now, because that's another phase of their life. Now, there's this skill, would I say skill gap, or there's a generational gap where the younger generation is saying, oh, maybe the older generation doesn't understand us. And so when we're working in the same system or in the same company, it gives issues. What kind of balance do you think can be given? And this is why. There's so many jobs now, startups and all. And sometimes you can see a baby boomer, you can see Gen Z, millennial, all together in that space. And then there's a clash. How can these different individuals begin to coexist and produce that result that we're expecting? Because the goal is solution provision.
Absolutely. You see, the interesting part to me about the ops, and everybody talks about AI. I was on one of our IT platforms and I told them, all of you professors, elders, in your computer science that you taught us, was artificial intelligence not there? We learned artificial intelligence. It's just that we learned it as if we just learned a read book. Nobody told us to go and produce the robots. We too could have been producing the robot for as long as we know. But no problem. This now the age, the reality is here with us. But what we are saying is that to the Gen Zs and to the older generation, there must be a meeting point. The meeting point is a roundtable discussion of addressing solutions to problems. So what I would suggest is that I have a problem. I need to make sure that everybody within this facility, we can press a button and everybody hears. So in terms of security management, I just need to press one button on my phone and all my neighbors, they know that something is wrong in my building. That idea, I may not want to do the software again because I'm now old. There is a Gen Z, somebody that's an AI compliance. Can we sit together? And as we are given that instruction, we are coming up with a solution. And then everybody, the problem I see that we have in Nigeria is the sharing formula. Who owns what? The idea can be paid for. I am privileged to be one of those who learned about innovation. And innovation has elements of innovation. So within the element ecosystem, you have those who created the idea. You have those who put the idea into synthesis. You have those who actually implemented the idea. And across the chain, you can give everybody their royalties. Because that's what we have. So people want to work in silos. So you see the Gen Zs as it were. They have so many solutions as it were. They were just, whether it's copy and paste, because some of them send me some things. And when I'm looking at it, I'm seeing pounds, I'm seeing dollar at the back. And I say, you have not collected this one to Naira. It shows that it's a copy and paste. But we must be genuine. Let's sit down and identify the problems we have in Nigeria. Most of those solutions we are copying, we're solving problems in their countries. Here we must sit down. What is it about government? What is it about environment? What is it about transportation? What is it about this and that? Let's take sectorial issues and then ask ourselves, what are the fundamental things we need? What technology will solve it? Who do I need? Bring them to the table. Then who is going to execute it? Let them do. By the time they are done, everybody would have solved one problem at least. And annually, you will be surprised at how many hubs are in Lagos? How many hubs in Abuja? Where are the problems we are solving? And when we say that we are doing a fintech to bankers, they give one POS boy machine. They give you 1,000, you make 1,200. They make their gain, you make your gain. That's what we know as fintech. But abroad, even people that introduced fintech, I was there in the US and they're asking, how are you people doing fintech in Nigeria? And you are just big conglomerates and they are wondering, what have we done? Because we are not producing anything. We are only using our money to do business and gain more. to the bankers. We need to think inward. For us to develop as a nation, hardware, embedded system, this robotics that everybody is talking about, because it's about hardware too, people need to know. And we must build solution that is solving a problem. Oh, everybody, of course, I trust Nigerians. We can import anything, but we won't be good for it. We need to learn to develop it ourselves. And we must work together. The academia, the research institutions, and governments must galvanize the private sector. The young people coming out of university, let's take them back again. Let them do something that by the time they come out, they are even creating businesses and jobs for themselves. They don't need to look for a job anywhere.
That's very, very key. So this stakeholder engagement here again.
Exactly.
So it's not, I mean,
It's
just
not
like value
silo.
chain.
Yeah, it's a value chain thing. Yeah.
All right. Now, 3 guiding principles that have worked for you in your life that if you share with people, they can run with it immediately and begin to see change in their own life.
And one is God and prayers. I pray a lot, and then most of the ideas that I've just shared, most of the things are, I believe they are inspired by God. It isn't just because I read it in books. For instance, I see you now, I say, wow, this lady wore a nice trouser. What can I do with this trouser? I can create a business with it. So for me, that's the way it works. Number 2 is you need to identify your passion. Run your passion. It's easy to run with other people's vision if you don't have yours. But where you have yours, focus. Focus. You know, there are days and times we go for programs. We see one person. We teach that one person as if 100 people are there. So stay within, consistently follow it. Don't say, I can't do it. In fact, I always tell people, I said, the day I'm thinking, maybe I should diversify. That's the day somebody will come and say, Dr. Wunmi, please, can you come and speak to us? So I know that for me, it's not just a career. It's become a calling. So I don't even, no matter how innovative, adventurous I want to be, technology is not going to live my life. So I just have to focus. I just have to be resiliently reading more and keeping up to date. Because somebody can call and say, come and talk about. Severally I talk about cyber security, and I'm asking myself, when it started and we're advocating for cyber crime laws and the rest of that, we never saw it even becoming a big issue like this. But today it's a big issue. So don't stop learning. Keep learning, keep reskilling yourself. There is nothing I don't learn. I told you I was in the production class. I said, all these things. I've been running the course for how many years? But I sat down with them. I want to learn this. The last time that we did the skill training, I sat down in the fashion class and I was saying, okay, can we use social technology? And then when I left, I bought my own sewing machine. So everybody must keep learning something so that you can be relevant. And more importantly to the young people, if there is no job, create one for yourself. Create one for yourself.
Create one for yourself. So I think you added one more. So the first one is God.
God. Prayers.
Always pray. So God is number 1. Number 2, focus. Make sure you focus. Number 3, reskill, upskill. And then what's the last one again?
Be consistent.
So be consistent on what you're doing, and you'd see that your life will become better. That's what Dr. Hassan has already shared with us. Thank you so much, Ma, for your time. It's been a lot, and I'm sure that you all have many things to learn from this, particularly if you're a woman. So you've already given us a lot of four to chew on, but any last maybe advice for the older generation?
So maybe not an advice, but a call that technology is here to stay. And like they said, the business of the future is with technology. So if there is anything anybody wants to learn, man, woman, because everybody talking about women with us. No, we are dealing with men. We started the Tech Men recently, and it's very exciting. So please, we have different projects, different programs. ICT Summer Academy is going on for this holiday across every state and in Abuja. If you want to work with us, partner with us, please reach out to us. The producer will give us your contact, and then make up your mind. Don't say, I've learned it, I'm too old. You are not too old, though, because you don't know when you will be here and when you will be off, and you don't know what you will need. I've seen people who have retired in Nigeria, went abroad, Japa, and they got there, they realized that Nigeria was better because here we need to work. And now they are going back to school. So skill up, skill up, skill up. And there are different courses you can learn. I'm sure you can get more through our Facebook pages, our social media, and all of that. And I want to say thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wunmi Hassan, for being my guest today. Yes, the CEO and President of High Tech Center for Nigerian Women and Youth. That's all on Tech Titans today. Remember to follow us across all our social media platforms. My name is Ibo Kumbankole. See you as I bring another Tech Titan next time. Bye-bye.